So welcome back to Chloe's Blend. For those of you that don't know, Easter of 2024 this year, my wife passed away from metastatic breast cancer, and jumping on here to create some content for our family and friends, and so my children can come back and see and hear what really happened throughout her battle with cancer. And I also hope that this reaches out to someone who's in a similar position as what my wife Chloe and I were and are in. There's not much content that's out there with regards to what it's like to be 28 years old with a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old, and getting diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, and what that looks like from the significant other standpoint, and as well as what she felt. Whenever she got first diagnosed, we went looking. You feel alone whenever that happens. You feel like you're the only one on earth that's going through it. Granted, we met, actually they lived in the town that Chloe and I recently moved from, and they're walking down a similar path, and it's been great to have the relationship with them. Granted, it was towards the latter end of Chloe's fight whenever we became close, but it's nice to find somebody that can relate to the feelings, the decisions, and the conversations that you have to have with your children, and how those situations are handled. But I hope that I hope that nobody has to go through what we went through, but if somebody is, I hope that they're able to come across this content. I don't have all the answers. I was talking, multiple times throughout this journey. I've told people that, I skipped this chapter in the book of life whenever I was reading it. I don't know what the answers are. I don't know how to handle the situations. All you can do is go off a gut. And I can tell you that the second biggest fear to losing my best friend and my wife was to have my children resent me for the way that the situation was handled whenever communicating with them. But anyway, we're going to talk about leading up to what we call D-Day, and what transpired shortly after. And D-Day is what we called Chloe's diagnosis day. She wasn't real keen on it, but that's what we ended up calling it. And that day changed both of our lives forever. And there was a lot of negative that came, but there was also so much positive that came throughout the time where she got diagnosed. So leading up to her getting diagnosed, whenever she came to me and let me know that there was an issue, we were in Galveston on a beach vacation with my parents with all 3 kids. Chloe had been sleeping a lot. And at that point, we chalked that up to postpartum depression. Our youngest daughter was 9 months old at the time. And it was early summer, and she came to me and said, "Hey, I think something might be wrong. I'm not trying to alarm you. It's probably just a milk cyst, but whenever we get home, I probably need to get it checked out." And I looked at her, probably with a screaming kid standing right next to me, and said, "Yeah, when we get home, we'll get it checked out." And we got home. took her until September to get into the doctor. And she got into the doctor, and the doctor told her, it's probably just a cyst. And then the odds are very, very low that it's anything other than a cyst. But we think that we need to go ahead and get an ultrasound. About a week later, she went and got an ultrasound, and it was our middle kid's birthday, our son's birthday. And the ultrasound tech said, the odds of this being anything other than a cyst are very low, but I see some abnormalities, so I'm going to send you for a biopsy as soon as possible. Go ahead and head over to the Harrington Cancer Center, and we're gonna get you a biopsy just to confirm there are some abnormalities, but odds are very, very low that it's anything other than a cyst. So we were sitting at dinner that night for our son's birthday, and we were talking about going on a destination Christmas. We were talking about going to Disneyland with our family for Christmas, and we didn't know what was coming next. October 15th, she got the news. She was sitting in the Target parking lot and got a message from MyChart. It's about 2 weeks after she had the biopsy, got a message from MyChart and opened it up, and lo and behold, she had cancer. It was breast cancer. And I was in a work meeting at the Drunken Oyster with a banker that we deal with occasionally within our family business. And my phone was on Do Not Disturb, and we were finishing up lunch, and I looked at my phone and had, 6 or 7 text messages. Can you call me? Can you call me? Can you call me? And I stepped outside and I called her, and she was hysterical, obviously. I mean, she had just read the most devastating news that you can get. And first thought that came to my mind was, oh my gosh, she ran over one of our kids in the driveway. She was notorious for going and picking up our kids early from school. She was what we call a domestic engineer, or a stay-at-home mom. And she all the time would go pick our kids up early from school just to spend a little bit more time with her. But what came next after that point, we left there and we were on the way home, and I asked my dad to take the kid, go and pick our 2 oldest kids up from school, and to take Heidi with him so I could be with her and we could figure out what the next steps were and what that looked like. I got home, Dad took Heidi and went and picked the 2 oldest kids up from school. And we called Texas Oncology. We got referred over to Tex Oncology. We knew we wanted to be with Dr. Reddy over at Tex Oncology here in Amarillo. And they said, yeah, we were just reviewing your case, and we're fixing to give you a call. We've got 3 appointments scheduled for you this week. So we ended up going and meeting with them, and got the news, and they scheduled a PET scan immediately, and sent the biopsy off for genetic testing. And about a week later, we found out that she was triple negative, which I had no idea what that meant. We were sitting there, I was cooking breakfast with the kids, we had just pulled ourselves up from our bootstraps, and she gets the call, and I didn't know. She stepped outside after I heard the words triple negative. It stuck with me. I knew that, you hear the word negative, and whenever it's associated with cancer, that is not typically a good thing. But she stepped outside and came back in, and we stepped around the corner and had a quick conversation. I said, look, I feel like it's time to tell our children. And she said, yeah, I agree. I tried to justify it by telling her, I do not want them to hear through the grapevine that mom has cancer, regardless if they know that or not. And we need to have the conversation. She agreed, and we sat our 6-year-old, our 5-year-old, and at that time 13-month-old down at the table. And I looked at our 2 oldest kids and I said, "Mom's sick. She doesn't look sick, but mom's sick right now. Her boobies are sick," is exactly what I told them. And our oldest looked at me and said, "What does that mean?" I said, "Well," at that point we didn't know that it was stage 4. And I said, we don't know, but more than likely mom's gonna lose her hair. And she's probably gonna have to have her boobies cut off. And our oldest looked at me and she said, "Like with scissors?" I said, "With scissors." I didn't understand what she was asking. And Chloe looked at me and she said, "She's asking if I'm going to have my boobies cut off with scissors." We were all crying at that point, and leave it to my oldest to bring light to a situation. We got a little chuckle, and I just looked at her and I said, "No, there's going to be a surgeon that's going to take care of mom." And at that point, we didn't know that surgical intervention wasn't an option, as it was stage 4 from the get-go. So not too long after that, we went and got her PET scan results, and we sat down with the radiation doctor, and we were running through what the future looked like. And I looked at him and I said, "She had a PET scan. Have we gotten the results back?" And he's like, "I don't know, let me see." And he pulled up the scan, and he's like, "Well, you've got it here, you've got it here, you've got it there." And I mean, still at that point, we didn't know what that meant. We assumed with the size of her tumor that we knew about that she was probably stage 3, hoping that she wasn't stage 4. And I looked at him. I said, "So what does that mean?" And he said, "It's stage 4. Stage 4 metastatic breast cancer." And after we got done with the radiation doctor, we went over with our oncologist, Dr. Reddy, and he ran us through the PET scan. I mean, if you're going through the situation, you know how much of a whirlwind and a blur, and everything's just kind of gray. You're doing your best to listen and understand. But it stuck out whenever Dr. Reddy said, "Metastatic triple negative invasive ductal carcinoma." Like, that sounds pretty important. May need to take a note of that. Whenever we got home, I had just convinced Chloe, and it didn't stick for very long, to stay off of Google. And we got home and I Googled it. And if you're walking down the path, you know that the life expectancy question is an important question, but I'm the kind of person that if you don't want the answer, don't ask the question. So, I Googled it. And whenever I Googled what her diagnosis was, and I read that the median life expectancy was 13 months, I was in shock. For her and for myself. how are you supposed to do that? How is she supposed to go through that? What am I supposed to do? How do you tell your children? And that's something that I never shared with my children. And honestly, Chloe and I didn't talk about it. I mean, we both knew that what she had was bad. And on top of that, her Ki-67, or the reproduction rate of her cancer, was 97%, which is extremely aggressive. 97% of the cells are reproducing as cancer. It was an extremely dark time. Hopeless. And it took, and like I said, we had just pulled ourselves up from our bootstraps. You know, you get that kind of news, and you go searching for positivity, for something to hold on to. And we laid in bed. We did not sleep. It seems like I haven't slept in the past 19 months. But at that point, like neither one of us slept. We just laid in bed and talked. And it's sad to say, but it took that for me to get to know my wife. Like I feel like now every husband should know his wife. And we talked about everything. But I think that's where we're gonna end it for now. And Chloe's blend, my buddy that's helping me out with the coffee, stopped by the house, I don't know, five minutes before 5 minutes before I started this video, and was dropping samples off with me. And you know, I mixed some of the stuff that he had together, and I had a really good cup of coffee. On my Facebook, it was take one. And then he stopped by and dropped me off a sample. And I had that this morning, and I called it take two. And that, phenomenal, absolutely wonderful. He gets all of his coffee beans out of Dallas through a wholesaler. And they come up here as green coffee beans, and he roasts them here, bags them here in Amarillo. It's less than 5 miles from my house. You know, Chloe and I enjoyed drinking the coffee that we got from him. But he stopped by and brought some more. This one is a Kenyan, Colombian, and a Sumatra blend. This is probably going to be where we end up. I'm a real big fan of the Kenya that he has, and Chloe really enjoyed drinking the Colombian bean that he's got. He stopped by, dropped off Organic Mexico, and blended with Costa Rica bean. We've got Brazil, Colombia, and Sumatra blend that we're testing out. Or it's an organic Mexican bean with a Colombian. And then we've got organic Mexico, Colombian, and Indo Sumatra. We're gonna give a whirl to. I'm really excited about this coffee thing. I am not gonna make any money. I'm not in this for the money whatsoever. Like I said in the intro, we're looking to help out the people whose journey is continuing down the cancer path. And We're donating to a couple different oncologists to help cover people's co-pays. There was a long duration about this time last year when the fight was on with Chloe, and we were in the oncologist's office probably on average 4 days a week. It wasn't unusual for us to be there 5 days a week, and every time you walk in the place, most times there are people who donate to help cover co-pays, but it wasn't unusual for us to spend $360 to $450 a week just in co-pays. And there's a lot of people who don't have the financial resources that we did, and I am extremely thankful that we do have those resources available to us. But there's a lot of people who have to spend time getting a plan worked out with the oncologist from that standpoint. There's grants and other things, but in the cancer game, time is of the essence, and the more time that you can spend doing what you want instead of spending time in an environment that you despise, for a lack of better terms, the better. So if we can get to the point where this content gets monetized, 100% of the profits will go to a couple different oncologists. We're going to start with Texas Oncology here in Amarillo, and help out with some co-pays for the patients. And depending on how things go, we're also gonna start donations to MD Anderson, as that's who we leaned on quite a bit as well down in Houston. Both organizations are top notch. There's more resources available at MD Anderson. They are the leaders in cancer, or treating cancer, and they did us well, and Texas Oncology did us well too. And depending on how things progress too, we'll start donating to some other oncologists. We're donating directly to the oncologists just for the sole purpose of, we know where the money's going. We know where your money is going. Whenever you donate to some of the big name organizations that are in the breast cancer game, it's not unusual for 2% of what's donated, 2 cents on the dollar gets donated towards the true cause and helping people. Everybody knows how the nonprofit game works nowadays. But we're donating directly to oncologists with the intent of covering co-pays to begin with. And $1, we've gone back and forth on the price that we're looking to sell these beautiful coffee beans at. We've talked about upping the price a little bit to be able to donate more on the front end to really get things kick-started. But we want to keep the product affordable for you guys as well. So we're excited. I'm a little bit scared getting in front of the camera, looking at myself in the face and hearing my voice. But I've got a story, and I really want to be able to provide our friends and family with the story and something for my children to go back and look at, and help the people that are in a similar position as me, just to know that they're not the only ones out there. But That's all I've got. Love hard and love fast.